Have you ever felt that love is still there, even after all the goodbye words have been spoken? Imagine this. 70,000 people at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles that night fell silent, their tears falling uncontrollably, not because of their own heartbreak, but because two people on stage had just sung what they themselves had never dared to say. He, Bruno Mars, the man we have known for years as Mr. Showman, the man who always smiles, always dances, that night he did not smile. He looked down. He held Karol G's hand in a way that was not like a regular duet partner. And when the first note of the song titled Still began to play, the whole world realized this is not just a new song. This is a confession. This is an old wound finally being opened. The question is, why did Bruno Mars, who is so selective in choosing collaborations, suddenly appear without any announcement in the middle of Karol G's tour, wearing a white suit embroidered with roses and a cowboy hat covering his teary eyes? What really happened behind this song? And why do millions of women around the world feel that this song was written for them? Welcome back to Bruno Mars, the home for all honest stories about our living legend, Bruno Mars. If you are new here, press the subscribe button now, because what you are about to hear today, you will not find in any other entertainment news. Tonight we will dissect a total phenomenon. In this part 1 video, I will take you into the most emotional seconds at SoFi Stadium. We will see footage that was not shown on TV. We will hear what Karol G whispered to Bruno right before they sang, and we will break down the lyrics of Still, line by line, which turns out to hold a very deep philosophy of love that is only understood by those who have truly loved and lost. Stay with me until the end of part 1, because in the final minutes, I will reveal a shocking fact from inside the production team of Karol G's latest album titled No Me Arrepiento de Sentir Tanto. A fact that explains why Bruno Mars is the only man in the world who could sing this song with her. And in part 2 later, we will discuss the explosive reaction from fans and the wildest theory that is currently being hotly discussed. Is this song actually about Bruno Mars' own true story? Los Angeles that night was not like a usual concert night. SoFi Stadium, which is magnificent and usually roars with hysterical screams, that night felt different. It was the closing night of Karol G's tour. The fans who attended, who were mostly strong women who have been through a lot in life, they came to celebrate. They came in glittering gowns with full hearts. They thought they knew what was going to happen. They thought they would dance and sing together to the anthems of heartbreak that made them strong again. Karol G appeared on stage in an icy blue gown studded with diamonds, like a goddess descending from the sky. Beautiful, yet there was a sadness she could not hide in her eyes. She had been singing for almost 2 full hours. Sweat mixed with tears. She smiled, but it was the smile of a woman trying to be strong. Then, the music stopped for a moment. The stage lights dimmed to a very intimate dark purple. There was only a small spotlight following Karol G. And then she said in a trembling voice, in Spanish, that was translated on the big screen, "The next song is the most honest song I have ever written in my life. I wrote it in a lonely hotel room at 3 in the morning, when I realized that some loves never really leave. They just still remain. Still. And tonight, I cannot sing it alone. I need someone who understands this feeling more than anyone." At that moment, from the dark side of the stage, a silhouette appeared. A white cowboy hat. A cream-white suit adorned with hand-stitched embroidery of pink roses and leaves, a suit that looked like poetry. His steps were slow, almost hesitant. When the light finally caught his face, those 70,000 people, they did not scream. They held their breath and then cried. It was Bruno Mars. There was no announcement. No teaser on Instagram. No collaboration poster. A total surprise. And the way he appeared, he did not wave his hand like a superstar. He walked straight towards Karol G, and as you can see in the photo you sent me, The photo that is now viral all over the world, he did not shake her hand. He gently held her arm with both of his hands, as if saying, "I am here, we will get through this together." Karol G bowed her head, her eyes closed. She looked like she was holding back tears she had held for a long time. That moment, body language experts say, was the most sincere moment ever seen on a pop music stage in the last 10 years. There was no choreography, no gimmick. Only two wounded souls finding strength in each other. Bruno then took the microphone. He did not immediately sing. He stared at Karol G, and Karol G stared back at him. In that stare there were thousands of unspoken words. And for the Hooligans, Bruno's loyal fans, who have followed him since the doo-wops and Hooligans era, they know that stare. It is the same stare Bruno had when he sang "When I Was Your Man" for the first time. The stare of a man confessing his deepest regret. Then the music began. Not with a drum crash or a bass thump, but with a very soft acoustic guitar pluck, almost like a whisper, followed by an old piano played very slowly. The atmosphere immediately changed into like a small, quiet chapel in the middle of a giant stadium. Karol G started the first verse in English with her beautiful and slightly husky voice because of emotion. She sang about a sweater still hanging in the closet, about the aroma of coffee still made for two even though only one person drinks it, about the habit of looking at the empty seat beside her while driving. Lyrics that are so simple, so everyday, yet so heartbreaking because every adult woman in that audience has felt it. Love does not always end even though a relationship is ended. That is the core of this song. Bodies may part, houses may be different, life may go on, but there is a part of the heart that still remains. Still. And then, Bruno Mars entered. His voice, oh, his voice that night was different. We all know Bruno can hit high notes, can do complicated vocal runs that make American Idol judges gasp. But that night, he did not do that. He sang with his low voice, his chest voice that was raspy, that was trembling, that sounded like a man who has been tired of holding back longing for years. He sang, "I still set a place for you. I still hear you in every crowded room. They say time heals, but they never knew." The female audience in the front row was seen hugging themselves. Many were recording while crying. On social media, a fan with the username @LunaHooliganForever wrote in capital letters, "I am not crying because of a heartbreak song. I am crying because finally someone understands how it feels to love someone who left 20 years ago, but it feels like yesterday." That comment got 45,000 likes in 1 hour. This is the magic of this collaboration. Karol G brings the perspective of a brave Latina woman who is honest about her pain, who is not ashamed to admit that she is still fragile. While Bruno Mars brings the perspective of a man who has been taught not to cry, to be strong, to move on quickly. When these two perspectives meet in the song, Still, they create a universal truth. That it is okay if that love still exists. That admitting that you still love someone from your past does not make you weak, it makes you human. Karol G's latest album titled No Me Arrepiento de Sentir Tanto, which means I do not regret feeling so deeply, is a statement of emotional courage. And the song, Still, is the heart of that album. Music critics at the Los Angeles Times have even called this song a Grammy nominee for Best Pop Duo Performance next year, even before the song was officially released on streaming platforms. They said the vocal chemistry between Karol G and Bruno on this song is something that cannot be engineered in the studio. It is chemistry born from the same wound. Now, let's get into the most shocking part that I promised at the beginning. Why did it have to be Bruno Mars? Why, from all the male singers in the world, from all the Latin pop stars, did Karol G choose Bruno? According to a trusted source from inside the Interscope production team, who did not want to be named, the song, Still, was initially written by Karol G alone in an Airbnb in Miami, 3 months after her very difficult breakup. She wrote it as a piano ballad. She sent her demo to several producers, and all producers said, "This song is beautiful, but too raw, too personal." Then, one of her songwriters, who had also worked with Bruno on the Silk Sonic album, casually sent the demo to Bruno Mars at 2 in the morning Los Angeles time. What happened next is legendary. Bruno Mars, who was at his recording studio in Hollywood at the time, listened to the demo once. Only once. Then he called back. He did not talk about arrangement or about a contract. His first question was, "Who hurt this girl so deeply?" The source said Bruno was silent for almost a minute on the phone after listening to the song. Then he said, "I have to be on this song. Not because I want a hit, but because I have been in that room at 3 in the morning with that sweater in the closet." It turns out, and this is a very emotional fact, Bruno Mars himself has a very similar story. We all know he is a perfectionist. We know he rarely talks about his private life. But his close friends know there is one love from his past that until today he still calls the one that stayed, a love that never really ended. And when he heard Karol G's song, he felt like someone had finally written the letter he had wanted to write all this time. That is why he agreed to not only duet, but also to co-write the bridge of the song. The bridge that is now the most iconic part, where they both sing to each other. "If love ends, why does it still breathe? If we're free, why does it still bleed?" Those lyrics were handwritten by Bruno Mars himself. Written on a restaurant tissue at 4 in the morning, according to that story. And that is why his appearance at SoFi Stadium was so emotional. It was not a performance. It was healing. It was two artists helping each other heal their old wounds in front of 70,000 therapists, which is us, the fans. I will end the script for part 1 here, right at the peak of this emotion, where we have just witnessed the birth of a song that will become an anthem for all hearts that still hold love. But this story is not over yet. There is still a big question hanging. How did the world react? What did major media like Billboard and Rolling Stone say? And most importantly, what does Bruno's tight hand holding and Karol G's deep gaze at the end of that performance mean? Is there something more than just music between them? Or is this the beginning of a soul friendship that will change the history of pop music forever? We will dissect all of that completely in part 2. And I promise, in part 2 you will hear an exclusive audio recording from a fan who was in the very front row, who caught what Bruno whispered to Karol G after the song ended, a whisper that made Karol G immediately cry in his arms. So, from what we have heard in part 1, we learn one very beautiful thing. That sincere love never really dies, it only changes form, it still remains, still. And Bruno Mars and Karol G have given us the courage to admit it. Now I want to hear from your deepest hearts. Strong women, loyal fans of Bruno, who are adults, who have been through the ups and downs of life. Have you ever felt what is sung in this song? Still? Is there someone in your past whose love still remains in your heart until today? Write down your feelings in the comments column below. Do not be embarrassed. Tell your story. Because on this channel, we are family. We strengthen each other. The comment with the most touching story will be read at the beginning of the part 2 video later. If this video made your heart tremble, give it a like, share it with your friend who might also be feeling the same thing, and make sure you have subscribed and turned on the notification bell so you don't miss part 2, which will be even more emotional and full of surprises. Thank you for crying and laughing with me tonight. See you in part 2. Keep loving sincerely.